Greetings. All right, good morning, good afternoon. Well, late morning, early afternoon. Hope you all are well. Hope you all are doing wonderful. Kiami here, the Success Scholar. It's a beautiful day. Wanted to take some time to share just some insights and just really have a promotion for this upcoming film. And people on many different perspectives, wondering what I have to do with this or why am I promoting this. Well, let me just give some insights. And for many of you who may not know, there is a film screening coming to Baltimore. The film is actually already out in at least 125 theaters in the United States. But basically, several things. I'm attempting to be aware of. Well, first and foremost, we have to support Black filmmakers who are putting out not just, I'm sorry, um, Black centered content, if you will, that is uh, educational as well as perhaps entertaining, but certainly educational that raises a level of our awareness about issues that we have going on within our community and historical contexts. So for me, engaging myself in this film and let me hold on, let me just pull up a trailer if I may. Let me find a film trailer. Maybe I should do that. Hold on. I think that makes good sense for those who may not. So for those who may not know, again, Rev House Sharpton has a film coming out called Loudmouth, and let me pull it up here. Um, I don't need to close up the full thing. Okay, but so many people know I've been active in the Baltimore area for quite some time, as well as in the state of Maryland, County. As I mentioned, we need to educate ourselves about various issues. And one thing that I'm really essential to understand, there seems to be a sort of fascination, or and I know that it's very highlighted in our community with the assassination of Dr. King. Many people tend to want to speak about the 50s and 60s. Well, and as well as into the 70s or the civil rights movement, the freedom rides and liberation. So, but one of the things that I have come to realize, for instance, is that there is this big gap between the 80s and 90s. Now, this is when I was more so a child, a young man, growing up in Baltimore, but I mean, in an urban environment, and I want to get a historical understanding of of those battles. I'm particularly interested in how the era of crack cocaine was revealed, as well as the three strikes law, and how different organizations handled that. So I'm very interested in that, as well as the role of hip hop music, the dynamics of the whole fight to power, self destruction. I'm not sure, what extent Reverend L had, connected. I'm sure, but being in New York, you cannot like not be connected with the whole hip hop rap community. So I'm very interested in educating myself about that. Next, many people know my aunt, Dr. Miriam Summers, is the vice president of the Baltimore National Action Network, and so I felt like to ensure that we do what the organization says they are founded upon, and me assisting my aunt in that work. I feel like I'm doing that just with my little push. So with that being said, I wanted to, and we have a small committee promoting that film, and I think many people may not be aware, but this year, earlier in the year, we did a civil rights tour. Now, that's a two-pronged approach or analysis that we're building upon. And so, what is perhaps going to have to happen in the next few years, the civil rights movement is going to have to more so evolve, and so that we're bringing it up to date in terms of the 80s and 90s. So I'm not just pushing this as just a film about Reverend Al. Yes, it is centered around him, but also, just because we do a civil rights tour, and there was like a whole economy built around, civil rights, and so I'm good with doing that. But there's also other historic struggles in the 80s and 90s that we certainly have to deal with. So with that being said, let me just give a shout out to those that have contributed to making this happen. Dr. Maya Rockymore Cummings, and of course the Teaching Artists Institute, which is my organization that I am the president. So we want to really get that out. Of course, will be doing the Freedom Rides again, coming up in 2023. But let me pull this trailer back again. Hold up. Let me see. All right.
Yeah, my question through the police. We get threats all the time. I'm not going to knock you around. Like in the Reverend Alfred Sharpton, chairman of National Youth Movement. We just buried him. And the only thing he did wrong was he was born on the wrong side of the track.
In New York City in the 80s, what we want to say, people did not want.
They will say that we are exasperating racial tensions. But yeah, Mike, Chris did a walkthrough with the police. So is the concern a shooter? We get threats all the time. I'm not going to not do the rally. I want to give me your name. Reverend Alfred Sharpton, chairman of National Youth Movement. We just buried a boy, and the only thing he did wrong was he was born on the wrong side of the track.
In New York City in the 80s, what we wanted to say, people did not want to hear. So you had to be loud because you were not invited to address the public.
So they can't ride us fair. They don't need to ride.
This is the beginning of a civil rights movement in New York.
It's all the media's fault. These things should be kept quiet. Now shop and go home.
They will say that we are exasperating racial tensions, but the people know the truth.
George Floyd's story has been the story of black folks.
There's a truth.
We talk about calling for a big march. We won't put 200,000-300,000 people in Washington.
If the question comes from the media about looting, he wanted to cast to you to set the tone.
Couldn't breathe.
I understand the anger. I've been fighting these issues for decades.
Anytime you start shaking the root of the system, then you're going to have a discredit campaign.
No justice! Senator Schumer, we have not had the legislative response to the litany of cases of policing all the way from Rodney King to now. 2020, we must deal with police brutality.
We got to turn these stations upside down.
All of our lives you had to fight to make sure that you control the story.
I want the folks at CBS to know if you can't tell the story right, don't tell it at all.
You got to be able to raise the theater level to where you don't lose control, but it is dramatic enough that you can't be ignored either.
Okay, all right, great. Hopefully you all saw that, but definitely, we are looking forward to this opportunity. And let me just say, we have to have independent thinking leadership within our community that has a diverse amount of sophistication in terms of what's the term? Operational unity. We're not going to agree on everything, of course, uh, but there are some things that many of us are universally standing for, and there are good-meaning people of many different persuasions that we begin to agree upon. So, with that being said, I'm going to just say that for those that have a desire to continue to organize on many different levels, and of course, I'm not going to be out here saying everything that I feel that needs said. Sometimes you don't put your full ideas out here and the depth of knowledge of what you're doing or what you can strategize around. But what I will suggest is that what we can learn from this is sort of like a inside outside strategy. For instance, many individuals, for instance, these different FBA and ADOS groups are, they have these challenges or problems, for instance, with black elected officials. But I'm just like, well, so you disagree with Black Lives Matter, you disagree with the civil rights organizations, and you disagree with some of the nationalists, if you will, the militants that walk around with guns, and so I'm just trying to figure out where people are standing up, or at least attempting to get an understanding of how and why people uh, keep the levels of oppression from destroying our community. So, with that being said, I feel that this will be a good historical lesson. And let me just say that I don't feel that I need to sell this. Like, there was a case where a sister working with us said that she suggested this film to a brother, and that he wanted to address it to his board on Monday or something, I guess, to try to persuade them. And I'm like, if his board is not aware, or if your organization or your network can't think for themselves, or and it may be relevant or irrelevant to some people. I'm not like necessarily pushing to say whether you know the message is relevant. But, there are some people at particular time in history that we have to just acknowledge their contribution, their work. Uh, Reverend Al Sharpton was almost killed. He was stabbed, actually. And so, like, would we, for instance, have had mourned him like we mourn Dr. King? I'm just like curious. I'm very curious if that was a reality. Would there have been a push for a national holiday? So I'm just curious in terms of who is pulling these strings to say who are our leaders to say we should have a Dr. King holiday, and not to necessarily compare contrast him with Reverend Al Sharpton per se, but I'm just saying that just demographics, and I know that a large scale of Black people are connected to the Black church in the South, and perhaps that being up north is a different dynamic. Of course, Blacks aren't as connected historically to the Black church. As a matter of fact, many during that migration period, many Black folks actually were not as connected to the Black church as they were during that period. And so I can see how, for instance, the Black church still had a level of psychological and emotional and spiritual connections to many Black people during those times. So, with that being said, I didn't feel like I needed to sell this to anyone, but I did feel that people should step up, and certainly more than individuals like myself and Dr. Maya Cummings. I think Dr. Maya Cummings, again, the wife of Congressman Elijah Cummings, when I sent this out to many elected officials as well as many uh, activists, if you will, as well as other organizations. And perhaps sometimes we need Black church members to really get on board and to make things happen. But when you have people who have connections to churches or a particular church, and they want their church to get like shine, for instance, compared to other things, there's still that dynamic going on. But anyway, December the 21st at the Charles Theater, and yes, we did try to get the next 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 phase. I'm sorry, not next phase, but the next class act, whatever it's called. I'm sorry, the Black owned theater, but we're still waiting on a response, and we haven't heard from them. Although we tried many different ways to reach them, so unfortunately, we've been unsuccessful in that attempt. So, with that being said, I would just want to encourage one December the 21st, 7 to 9 p.m. Definitely consider coming out to the Charles Theater. That's 1711 North Charles Street, 1711 North Charles Street. We will have a brother there doing some filming. And so we would love for you to get your responses. We only get like a little 1 minute clip of what you feel, uh, how you feel about the response. So please consider, you can go to the Charles Theater website, the Charles Theater. You can click on the different movies, like I'm getting ready to go buy a few for a few individuals. So, but please do join us. The Baltimore National Action Network and many others. We got about 50 something tickets sold. It can fit 100 something. So definitely, let's get it popping. Let's spruce it up. Let's make it happen, y'all. So definitely subscribe, like, share, and click the notification button, so that you could be present when I go live at any time. Uh, and definitely uh, join us or share our flyer for the Teaching Artists Institute Freedom Rides 2023, which is coming up in June, I believe, 11th through 17th. We'll look at those dates, 17th through something, but 11th through 17th, I think. So, but that's all I have for y'all. So definitely check out the film, check out the trailer. Do share this. All right. Peace and blessings. Haki Ami, the Success Scholar, Teaching Artists Institute. Thank you. Peace.